Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to continue to talk about Bigtop Burger, this time with season 2. So let's just get started.
So, in this season, Caesar methodically traps Steve throughout the day at a food truck expo. Once finally incapacitated, Steve is slammed into an underground prison where he reminisces over his origins.
So I love the opening animation for this season where we see all the characters. I just think it looks really nice, even though most of the character introductions for each episode, like it's always the same introduction in every episode, but the majority of the character introductions are just the characters doing mundane things. And I think that mundaneness is what made me really enjoy that aspect of this opening. I don't know, something about it just really stuck with me and I really enjoyed that. I love how Conrad thinks a random hole is parking. Like, I just love that. Steve eating a guitar did not surprise me, and I also did enjoy that. So there's this change in animation style in the first episode where I think his name is Cesare. I don't know.
Listen, I've been calling him Caesar.
Okay, I'm just gonna call him Cesare. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I should have Googled. But anyways, he's there's this point where he says that he's got the bad food, and like the animation changes to this like 3D model, like this really bad 3D model of him pointing at the screen with a burger like right next to it, like kind of like if it was a newscaster.
Infomercial.
Yeah, it was just really random, and I really love that. I just love changes in animation style. Whenever that happens, it's really amazing.
Yeah, okay, the quick cut to like an old infomercial with like the time appropriate 3D looking Caesar was, oh my gosh, it was so good. And that is something that happens occasionally. I think it happens like 2 more times throughout this season where we cut to something else in a different medium, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I specifically remember this one scene where he talks about like how he doesn't want to stand out, and he says something like, "I want to stand out like an X thing," and then we cut to a photo of the X thing. Yeah,
It was a horseshoe crab. Sorry, I love horseshoe crabs, but it was a horseshoe crab.
yeah. It was just I enjoy things like that, and changes in animation style or just changes in visuals is always really interesting to me, and I'm really glad that this show did this in season 2. Okay, so I have a bit of a problem with this season, which is surprising because I usually have the opposite problem with media like this. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the serious tone this show had at the end half of season 2. I loved the comedy of season 1, and I kind of wish this show stayed in a more comedy focused route. Yes, Steve's backstory is interesting, but I feel like I wasn't really sold on it, and I just want more of the comedy, you know? And I know Matt's disagreeing with me based off the look on their face.
Are you not? Have you? Oh my god. Have you ever been satisfied, Marco?
Yes, I have.
The fact that you're like, oh, I hate episodic shows. I just love that when there's plot in it, and then like this episodic show turns, more towards a plot, and then you're like, well, actually, I didn't like that.
You know, I can be a hypocrite. End quote.
No, only I can. That's my shtick.
No, I don't know. I just feel like with this show specifically, I really loved its episodicness. Majority of shows I don't like episodic nature of shows. I just feel like this one I really enjoyed it despite the fact that it was episodic. So when it turned a different route, I don't know, I was surprised. And I didn't love it as much. I also just wasn't interested that much in Steve's backstory. So that might be it. I think it was interesting, but I don't know. I wasn't really sold on it. Not that I think it's bad. I think it's interesting. But I just didn't enjoy it as much as the rest of the show.
Okay. Yeah, sure. No, there's nothing interesting about a space clown on a space planet that their whole thing revolves around literally performing the best like cat musical performance you can. No, you're right. That's not interesting. And the fact like the fact that his punishment was being sentenced to like being ostracized, and the fact that he is like canonically the reason the dinosaurs went extinct. No, that's not interesting. The fact that he was like thrown into the Earth's core, and then like through millions of years, he finally came out and became a menace to society. And then it's not interesting. You're right, Marco.
Oh my god. Can I just say I completely wasn't paying attention because I was stuck on the fact that you said the best musical. I thought that's what you were gonna say. And I thought you're saying that Cats the musical is the best musical. I'm not even gonna comment on everything you said. I'm just gonna move on.
Cause you know I'm right.
I like how the rival food truck is like, yeah, we shot a cannon at you, but it's only because we were working. Honestly, I'd do some pretty weird stuff if I was just working for work. Like shoot a cannon at someone. Money matters.
Sure.
Anyways.
Yeah, they're getting paid really well, so.
Yeah.
None of their
I mean,
business.
yeah, didn't the what's her name? I literally wrote her name down. Frances, didn't she say she's getting paid like $1,000 every day?
Yeah, and he
So
gets it from a hole in the ground.
yeah, okay, exactly. So I would do some weird stuff for money, like for $1,000 a day. Yeah. Speaking of the hole in the ground, Conrad revealing that Cesare gets a bunch of money from a hole in the ground leaves me asking so many questions, even with the context we have. Like we were given some context, but I feel like I wasn't given enough. But I kind of love that at the same time. Okay, so question: Is Frances blind in one eye? At first, I thought it was just for the costume, for why she had one eye closed. But then I noticed that whenever we see her in the intro, her eye is always closed like that. So I was just wondering if she's just blind in one eye, because I think that'd be cool.
Maybe she is. I also think that canonically they are theater majors. So there is a possibility that she is, what's it called? Method acting.
I kind of love that explanation more.
I mean, given the vibe of like the whole Zomberger crew, would you be surprised?
No, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. The mallet scene was honestly really well animated, and I found that scene to be really good. I was surprised, but I really enjoyed it. Okay, so at the end of episode 5, I had so many questions like what happened to Steve after he was sent to Earth. And then we learned that one of the first people he meets is his employee. Like in the after credits scene, like we can see him digging from out of the ground. And I forgot the guy's name, but one of the guys that later becomes his employee gives him like money and tells him like there's a burger place nearby. I just really enjoyed that. So yeah,
Okay. I think that what went on between Steve and how do you say his name?
Cesare. You can just call him Caesar.
Would it be rude if I just called him Caesar?
Yes, it would, but be rude.
Okay. I don't mean to be offensive. I don't mean to be rude. I'm calling him Caesar. I think what's going
You
on
do
between
mean to be rude.
a little bit. I think what's going on between those two and this season is the closest I'll get to watching one of those bully romances I've been hearing about. Okay, in episode 4, at the beginning of it, Steve, like, he's holding so many heavy things that he becomes the jewel he smoked in season 1. And I just think that's beautiful writing. Okay, so in our season 1 review, I talked about how episodic shows turning into serialized shows and how Bigtop Burger does it right. In my opinion, I guess. Every episode leading up to episode 4 still had the vibe of the first season, in my opinion. The fact that each episode connected did not irritate me. It actually made me more interested in what this may be leading up to, and what it led to was great, in my opinion. And the greatest part is we have such interesting characters. There's more storylines you can tell. Like, we have Steve, and he's an amazing character. We also have the little gray guy. Okay, he's pretty interesting. We can also spend more time on the clown planet. There's just a lot to explore here. Oh, also, like, the prison. What's going on with the prison? And the cool thing is, Worth It Kids can create more, it's like serialized seasons, or they can go back to episodic, and I don't think anybody would hate it either way. Most people wouldn't. Okay, anyway.
Damn, that was really cunty of you, and not in a slay way.
I think many people would be on my side.
Okay.
Okay, it still shocks me that canonically everyone's favorite space clown was in the Broadway musical Cats, and he flopped, and I'll never get over it. Steve's home planet and just all the art in episode 5 specifically was exquisite. Also, when he shot out of the cannon, he goes through a couple of Worth It Kids' other videos, one of them being a Star Wars video, and now it is my own canon that Big Top Burger is in the same universe as Disney's Star Wars timeline, and no one can convince me otherwise, because honestly, it makes sense. I also love how he caused the dinosaur extinction. I love how he's the reason we are here today. It is very fitting for his character. And that's it.
Overall, I think this is a solid season. I don't think it's as good as the first season, but I did enjoy it. Oh my god, Mal, do you have to be like that? Whenever I say something, Mal's just like looking away, disappointed. I think this is a fun season. I really enjoyed seeing more of the zombie crew, even though like Cesare like weird sudden shift. I did enjoy that, but at the same time, I just wish we would get more of their day to day lives, like their regular lives, instead of this more fantasy sci-fi route.
What do you mean by weird sudden shift?
Where it's suddenly revealed that he's basically that he's working for someone. I don't know. I get that there were hints, but it felt sudden to me.
Okay.
But yeah, this was a solid season. I'm really interested in what they do with season 3 because I really want this to be solved. These plot points to be solved. So yeah, hopefully I do plan on watching season 3 when it comes out. I don't know when it's going to come out, but hopefully it comes out soon.
Okay. Copy paste what I said about season 1. I think the only thing I have to add is I love how the show only got better. And I can't wait to see what Worth It Kids does in the future, no matter what he chooses to do. I have a strong feeling I'll like it anyway. I think the only thing I would like to see is a scene where Steve escapes and Caesar sees him in the wild and goes on a rant about how Steve ruined his retirement. I just feel like that would be such an amazing scene. Like somehow Steve dug out and he found his way in Florida because that's where Caesar says he wants to retire. And he just sees him and he's like, "Oh god damn it, Steve. I just want to see that cuz I can picture it and I want to see it." And that's it.
Anyways, you guys, that's our thoughts on Bigtop Burger Season 2. If you want to send us a voice message on Spotify for podcasters, there'll be a link in the description to do so below. We also have social medias that are on the description, and that's everything, so goodbye.